In this video, you learn how to make the scales you play on guitar sound musical. Most people learn scales and then stop there. No wonder scales have a reputation for being boring. I'd be bored too if all I did was just play up and down scales all day long. Not my idea of fun. Hi, this is Simon Candy from Acoustic Guitar Lessons Online.net, and in this lesson I sit down with music theory specialist Tommaso Zillio to demonstrate and discuss how to create music using scales on your guitar. The scale is just the foundation, it's the beginning, it's not the end. It's then our job to create something out of the scale. So in this video, we will look at several ways that you can do that. You're going to learn how to best practice scales to learn the feeling of each note. This is the key to creating music with the scales. And any note within a single scale can have several feelings. It just depends on the context in which you're using the note and the chord that is largely happening behind it at the time. I've got a really good exercise approach, if you like, to developing this skill, so you'll find that out in today's video. Plus, you're going to learn the simplest way to play a scale on the guitar, which also just happens to be the best way in terms of really understanding the structure and relationship of the notes in the scale. So let's get into it.
Simon, you have some ideas regarding all that? Because I know you use harmony a lot. I think it's your style, using harmony and chord melodies. And all these things.
Yes. Well, I agree with everything you've said. I think it's great because it's totally been anything but here's a scale pattern, here's the fingers to use, and etc. Because it's all just purely about creating music. Yet the scales do, of course, provide us with form and understanding, and they develop our ear because we can hear music, how it's grouped, the notes together in a major scale or a minor scale or some mode or exotic scale or whatever it might be, or pentatonic scale. But I often think a good way, if you're thinking what is a particularly good way to get started with playing a scale on guitar, playing on a single string. So you can, if I play a C major scale starting on the C note first fret on the second string, and I can work my way up. I mean, that's very easy to play, even if you don't play guitar. It wouldn't take you too long to play that scale. And when you see the scale on a single string, you see the relationship of the notes clearer. It's a little bit more like on a piano. It's a little bit more linear. It's just on a single string, and you can see that there's a relationship there between the notes of a tone, tone, semitone, or on the guitar, 2 frets, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. And back down we come. So I think on a single string is a good way to begin. And I also think it's a great way to play, even if you're a more advanced player or intermediate player, because often we get stuck in just playing scales up and down a position, up and down vertically on the guitar. We're up and down, up and down, up and down. Quite often we don't think to move horizontally up and down the fretboard. So while it's very simple, it's very effective in getting this way working a little bit more rather than just up and down vertically. But I think, understanding the harmony of the scale and realizing that the C note in the C scale sounds lots of different ways within the context of the key. It depends on the chord at the time. So how does a C note sound in the C scale? Well, give me some context, because I can't answer that question. So droning an open string is, as you were doing there, Tommaso, is a great way to hear the sound of the scale. And I mean, okay, I'm in the key of C here, and we don't have a C open string to drone, but we have other chords in the key of C. We have D minor, we have E minor, we have F, we have G, we have A minor, and we have a B diminished chord in there. So I could drone, for example, the low E string and play the scale. And you can hear a really Middle Eastern sort of sound when I do that. Now you think C is a little bit of a dissonant sound there against our E string. I'm implying an E minor chord here, okay? But of course, I'm not going to play the E minor chord necessarily and then try and play the scale. That can be done, but that's getting into more chord melody stuff. This is more just droning the low E string and playing around. So I'm not sitting there just playing up and down the scale. I could begin with that just to hear how this sounds against the E note. And now we're starting to train our ear and hear how the scale sounds in a particular context rather than just think of it technically and so forth. I could take another route from another chord in the key of C here. So perhaps I play an open A. Now, those notes change when I hit the A string. C is now a little more in, it's more consonant than what it was against the E. So that note is now different, but we haven't, we're essentially in the same key here. And you can just play the notes and just, if you're not sure what to do, just try and mix the order up a little bit or think rhythmically, play some notes longer, play some notes shorter, and just listen, just let the sound come to your ear. You're training your ear to hear these sounds. So you've got to allow the time for them to soak in. And it's a good idea, I find. You're a little limited with droning open strings, of course. But if you go to YouTube and you punch in single chord backing track, you'll find plenty of single chord backing tracks, A minor, C major, whatever. And it gives you a single chord, just a vamp on a single chord. And you can hear how your notes sound over the top of a single chord. I think that's a great way to train your ear and just listen for what sounds in and what sounds out. And what sounds out is not a bad thing. We need drama in music. If everything was in, it'd be pretty boring. It'd be like watching a movie, nothing happens, everyone's happy, everyone remains happy, and we all live happily ever after. We need the drama, we need the tension. So these sounds are good if we can use them correctly. And as your ear develops, you'll learn how to use them. What you play now can sound completely wrong to your ear, but you can do the same thing as your ear develops and start to hear it and be able to resolve the tension and make it work. So for example, if I come back to my E string here, I'm listening for which notes of the scale sound more in with the chord. Certain notes will sound like landing points. Other notes will feel like you're traveling somewhere. So you're either arrived or you're going somewhere. So here, I'm on my way. I'm arriving. I'm home. We can hear the tension there resolving. A little more dissonant there. This wants to move up to the B note, but we're not even concerned about the note names here necessarily or getting caught up in this works over here and this works there. It's just how does it sound? I mean, a C note, any sound is good to my ear. It's context that's needed. So if I play a C chord, that's a nice sound to me if we resolve it. So anything can work. We've just got to open our ear to hear these things and purely focus on that rather than get caught up in technique. And I think naturally people work on technique with scales and sequences and things like this and patterns and visualization, and that's all good, but you've got to balance it with actually working on creating music. I think another way that's great in developing your ear is to use your voice, is to sing. I'm not a singer. And I know that Tommaso is not a singer, so we're not about to punch out some duet here.
Don't even try. Don't even try.
Come on, Tommaso, you can give us a rendition of Canada's national anthem.
Sure. It will not sound like that. No, well, yep, perfect. Like the voice is a great way to do it. Again, my voice sounds like you just stomped on a mouse. Okay, okay. So I'm saying that because I want anybody in the audience to know that if your voice is horrible like mine, presumably Simon singing voice.
Oh yeah.
Presumably because I never heard him sing, and I know Simon ever heard him sing. So.
Good reason for that.
Even if your voice is horrible, it's still a good tool. You don't have to use it in public. Okay? You can use it in the privacy of your home, okay, and use your voice and sing a melody on top of the chord. And even if it sounds with an horrible tone of voice, you can still make the pitch heard, so you can still create music with that. And that, by the way, it's a great way of using a scale to to make music, because instinctively you will use the scale. That's the other interesting thing. It's scales are not artificial. Scale is not something we invented. Is that we realized that, for instance, for the major and the minor scale, when people sing, they naturally tend to go toward the same kind of sounds. Pretty much all culture in the world, it doesn't matter where you're born, but everybody uses some form of pentatonic scale, major or minor, most of the major. At least the major pentatonic scale seems to be hardwired in your brain one way or another. Some cultures and invent the major scale and the minor scale or other different scales, and at this point it becomes more culturally dependent, but you still instinctively will use a scale, and you will typically use scales typically of your culture because you've been hearing them all your life. Using your voice, it's an automatic good way to make music with a scale, and you're using your full musical inventiveness because you're not limited on finding the right sound you're searching. You simply sing it. Okay, that's a great idea.
If you like this video, then you'll love this ebook audio from my Jazz Concepts for Acoustic Guitar series titled Arpeggios. In this ebook, you will learn exactly what arpeggios are, how to visualize them on the fretboard, and several ways to use them in your guitar playing. I will run you through 3 key major arpeggio shapes and 3 key minor arpeggio shapes, and how each of these relate to each other on the fretboard so you can easily access them in your playing. Not only will you learn the conventional way of applying arpeggios to your guitar playing, but I will also show you how to instantly multiply your soloing possibilities with each arpeggio shape through arpeggio superimposition. It sounds complicated, but it's super simple. I will not only show you how all this stuff works on the fretboard, but also explain it to you so you can understand the theory behind it all. So click the link in the description below this video and download your free ebook audio, Jazz Concepts for Acoustic Guitar Arpeggios. You'll have it in your inbox within minutes. Let me know in the comments section what acoustic guitar topics you'd like to see covered in future videos, or any comments you might have on the video you've just viewed. I love hearing from you. I read all the comments and I will answer appropriately too. If you like this video, then hit the like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and of course hit the all important notification bell button so YouTube can tell you when I've released a new video. This is Simon Candy from acousticguitarlessonsonline.net. As always, thank you for your time and attention. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.